And we're coming to you live for the Build Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason and Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. We are not on CBS Sports Network yet. We will be at 8 a.m. But wherever you are in the free Odyssey app as well, good Thursday morning. We've got real live NFL football tonight, something we've been waiting for a very long time. The defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys. And we'll get a first look at that Dallas Cowboys team that the Giants are going to play in Week 2, which is going to be really interesting. What type of group do we see with a healthy Dak Prescott and a Brian Schottenheimer-led team without Micah Parsons? Do they get blown out by the Eagles, or they look pretty good? I think that first couple of games is going to be really, really important to the Giants' success. We got some baseball to get into, 2 annoying losses with bad bullpens again, but still things relatively good for both of those teams despite the annoyance yesterday. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Gio. And, I'm glad football's here for sure. And I was thinking about the Giants and the Jets and opening weekend. And I know that the Jets and the Packers, that's going to be a huge watch television game on Sunday on CBS. But I think about the Giants, and I think about how poorly they have opened their seasons over like the last 10 years. I think they're one of the worst teams when it comes to opening weekend losses.
I think they're one of the worst teams throughout the entire year. I think that's the way it's worked out.
Well, you try to break it down to the opening week. Who wants to get off to a good start?
They never do.
I think Joe Burrow is 1-9 in the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. So they have worked very, very hard in Cincinnati to try to keep that from happening. So let's get a win opening weekend at Cleveland. And I would say that's the same for Brian Daboll. Let's go into Washington. Let's shock the Washington Commanders. You know, Washington's dealing with some injuries, and yeah, they've had some additions to this team. It's also one of the oldest teams in the NFL. And the one thing I will say about the Giants, and I think we've been saying it now for about a month, is that there's like a youthful exuberance and energy, even though their quarterback, Russell Wilson's older than everybody else on the team. Everybody else, I just feel like, is under 30. Everybody's excited. Everybody feels like they got some real juice now, especially on defense. And hopefully their secondary will hold up as long as the front four put on the pressure that everybody thinks is coming.
Yeah, I'm watching this game with 2 lenses tonight. The first is, how good the Philadelphia Eagles are and the Dallas Cowboys in the game, first game of the season, the excitement with that. But it's also, where do I feel the Giants fit into this division when I'm seeing 2 of these teams play? And then you're also going to see the Commanders, obviously, on Sunday. So I know things change throughout the year, but I think the last thing that the Giant fan wants to see is a really competitive Dallas Cowboys team that either beats or plays the Philadelphia Eagles really well, because we've gone over it a million times since May when the schedule came out. If the Giants want to have a legitimate season, they cannot go 0-2 in the division to start the season. They've got to either win both of those games or they've got to split. So I think that they have a better chance of beating the Commanders week 1 than going down to Dallas, because they never go down to Dallas and play well. Now, I understand a lot of changes, a lot of different things. Micah Parsons would dominate the Giants' offensive line. He's not there any longer. New coach and everything else. But I do feel better, even though I'm not going to pick the Giants, I do feel better about them beating the Commanders and the Cowboys. But if you see the Cowboys just get absolutely waylaid in this game tonight, maybe you're starting to say, hey, maybe they can possibly go 2-0 to start this season in the NFC East.
All right, so remember the Eagles started 2-2 last year, and then obviously went on to win 14 straight games with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. And, so 2 of those games came against the Cowboys, in which Dak Prescott did not play in those games. So Dak Prescott is 4-1 against the Eagles the last 5 games he's actually played in. So he is, it's a quarterback-driven league. We all know that. I think Brian Schottenheimer was a smart pick for Jerry Jones. I guess they just got tired of hearing the same old stuff from Mike McCarthy, because it's essentially the same coaching staff with the exception of a new defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus.
That's right.
So I don't know. I think they're going to be more competitive, just like I think the Giants are going to be more competitive. And I think that the Eagles and the Commanders benefited from the injuries that both the Giants and the Cowboys suffered last year. So if you just think back to last year and why the Cowboys and why the Giants were so bad, and then you look to this year and you say, okay, how did they improve? Well, they've improved at the most important position on the field. Both of their quarterbacks are going to be healthy. One is a little bit more seasoned than the other, but both Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott coming into the season are healthy and should be able to generate more offense for their respective teams.
Yeah, and the Philadelphia Eagles have a real good chance of repeating. It's so hard to do in the NFL, but this was one of the better teams we had seen in the last decade or so when you broke everything down at the end of the year and who they beat in the Super Bowl and how impressive they were on both sides of the ball. So this is a team that is not like it didn't just fall into a Super Bowl championship last year. You know, they beat teams. They were really good. They were solid in every single phase. So, you know, if they're right back there again this year, it's not going to be surprising as long as they stay healthy. But they're just a group that's just so solid, one of the best rosters in the league. They continue to draft well. They continue to do great in free agency. And if they don't win the division again, it's going to be because they had a rash of injuries.
It'll be interesting to see how Howie Roseman fills some of the holes that were left by free agency on defense. They lost 5 guys on defense from last year. Most of their guys, of course, the 2 big tackles in the middle are sitting in there. Their secondary should be solid. The question is you know, they lost, I think, Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham. So, you know, what is their pass rush going to look like?
Well, Brandon Graham was out for almost the entire year last year, and they were able to sustain that. So
Hassan Reddick is gone. I mean, not that he was,
he was gone last year too.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's just so. I mean, they've gone through it. But the thing about Howie Roseman is he's got an innate ability to be able to fill holes with guys that come out of nowhere, like Zach Bond. I come out of nowhere and all
Cooper
of a sudden,
DeJean.
Yeah, well, that was a draft choice, but I would say that finding those guys, those guys that, you know, not a lot of people see what he sees or his front office sees, is pretty amazing what they've done. And, of course, they do have an offense that is loaded at pretty much every skill position.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing what he's been able to do. He's the Theo Epstein of football. He is the best executive in the game. He's someone who shouldn't be questioned with letting guys go and picking guys up because he's just got this incredible resume. He's doing it better than anybody right now. So that they're just going to be a team that's going to consistently be there. If they have injuries, that's a different situation. But this is one of the tougher divisions in football. If the Giants could actually figure it out and be a real competitive team, this could be, you know, one of the top 2 or 3 tough divisions in the game. It really could be if the Giants figured it out, because you know you've got the AFC West. Very good division, we know that. The NFC North, very good division, we know that. Those are 2 that are certainly better. You could say, well, the Browns stink, but there could be 3 good teams in the AFC North. But if the Giants were I'm not on board with you and Jerry and some of the other Giant fans that are thinking that they could maybe win 7-8 games somewhere around there. But if they did, I mean, the NFC East could be a little bit of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, again, both the Cowboys and the Giants lost significant play time to top-end players that were making most of the money. And when you lose those guys, you're going to have losing records. The Eagles could lose one of those guys or 2 of those guys, and then all of a sudden things change pretty rapidly in the NFL. And that's why we often see a worst-to-first situation. I'm not saying the Giants are going to do that. I don't think the Giants are going to do that, but I do think so much more competitive. I think there's a lot more on the line for Brian Daboll now than ever before. I'm not sure, you know, how John Mara is viewing this season. We haven't really heard from John, so we don't know. I'm assuming that, you know, this is going to be it for him and Joe Shane. But again, if you look at the transition over the last 3 years and what this roster looked like when they got here to what it looks like now, you feel like I got to give him a chance at least with Jackson Dart a couple years, assuming that the season doesn't go haywire and they end up 4-13.
Yeah, and this is going to be, of course, a huge talking point throughout the entire season. But, you know, how itchy with the trigger finger is Brian Daboll and Joe Shane going to be in putting Jackson Dart in there? Clearly, they're in love with him. I trust Brian Daboll's instincts when it comes to the quarterbacks, but there is no doubt that Brian Daboll loves this kid, understands that He is up against it. His career as a Giants coach is against the wall right now. And the best way to keep that job is to have Jackson Dart come out and look like the guy who's going to be here for 15 years.
Well, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they do their first 5 games, and whether Russell makes it through and what their record looks like. It's interesting. We know that the Giants are the team with the toughest schedule, at least on paper. But the Eagles have a tough schedule, the Cowboys have a tough schedule, and Washington has a tough schedule because of the crossovers and where they all are. The Eagles are, I believe, the first team in NFL history to have actually 10 previous playoff teams on their schedule.
10 previous playoff teams.
From last year on their schedule this year.
Meaning that they could play 2 of them, like the Commanders, they count as 1 or 2?
That's 2.
Okay. All right. Well, it's 1.
They got the Commanders, they got the Commanders, Broncos, Lions, and Rams at home.
Okay.
And then on the road, they got Commanders, obviously, Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Vikings, Bills, and Buccaneers.
What the stat pack should say is 10 games against playoff teams, not
10 playoff teams.
Yeah. 10
right,
games against teams that went to the playoff.
Well,
that damn stat pack's letting you down already, so we haven't even played a game yet.
But it's just giving me a flavor of what is in front of the Eagles. Everybody, and by the way, they're the hunted. So when you're playing the Eagles, you realize you're playing the Super Bowl champion. That week is a little bit special as you're preparing for that team.
Yeah, I mean and they've been there because of, well, if you think about it, going into last year, Nick Sirianni, he was on such the hot seat prior to last year.
Unbelievable.
To think about that, having the success that he had, and then bang, here he is as a Super Bowl champion. And someone who is now, you would think, has some of the best job security in the game. And, yeah, I mean, they're certainly they've been the hunted before in recent memory, with Doug Peterson as the coach. Now they're the hunted again with Nick Sirianni as the coach. And they're one of the big favorites in the NFC once again. I think the Lions take a step back with all those coaches that they lost. I mean, I understand that.
And plus, the division's tougher now.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough last year, too.
What about the Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, it's all.
Are they a better team other than J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah.
Do you feel like what they did in the offseason made them a better football team?
Yeah, I think that the offensive linemen that they signed, on paper, they've got the best offensive line that they've had in a very, very long time.
How about their defensive line?
Yeah, I mean, they love the 2 young guys that they brought in, and that's why Harrison Phillips was expendable. So, yeah, I actually, their personnel up front, their front 7 on defense, I do trust. And it's also, I mean, Brian Flores has been able to do a lot with guys that you wouldn't expect to have Pro Bowl-like seasons, and all of a sudden under him end up showing up and doing great things. So, yeah, the roster, I think, is very, very good. It's just that you got Jordan Addison, who's suspended for the first couple of games, Justin Jefferson dealing with an injury early on, and a quarterback that I have no idea what he's going to be.
In a quarterback-driven league, that's the $1 million question right there for your Vikings. Anyway,
yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, obviously, every single quarterback in a league is under immense pressure to perform, to keep their jobs, to put the ball in the end zone. Given what the Vikings went through last year and how well Sam Darnold played up until the final 2 games, I was trying to think, of all the quarterbacks that are coming into this league and stepping into the role for a particular team, I think, and I feel like J.J. McCarthy is under the most pressure to perform. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
you smell that?
Yeah,
that's what that smells like.
I've been smelling it for 2 years. I mean, I will say the 2 things, and listen, he's my guy now. I got to have his back, even though I'd never liked the pick. But he is, as far as situations go, you can't make any excuses because he had a full year to watch, full year to see that offense be great, and he is under one of the great play callers in the league with some of the best offensive weapons out there with a great offensive line.
And this is exactly what you want for Jackson Dart.
Yeah, and they don't have that quite yet, but they're close. They're very close. But I mean, Andrew Thomas being healthy is such a huge factor.
But the point being is that this is what you've been advocating.
Yeah,
like you like J.J. McCarthy probably would have started the season as the starter last year. At least it was trending that way when they first got him.
Yeah.
And they had, I think they added Sam first. Didn't they add Sam first? And then they drafted J.J. McCarthy. But that was the scenario that's the Kansas City model.
The Kansas City model.
Right. So,
yeah.
But the Vikings did the Kansas City model due to injury.
That is correct, which could be the best thing that ever happened to him. So, I mean, I feel.
So now it's the Vikings model.
Well, we'll see. I mean, let's see if it works. I mean, I don't know. He didn't have to do a lot at Michigan. He's going to have to do a lot here. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I mean, they had one of the best defenses in college football. They were able to run the ball. He made clutch plays when he had to. This is going to be more about him and what he can do now. And that's really the big issue that I have. But with Kevin O'Connell, he's made everybody who's played under him look better than they should be. So maybe that happens with him. But he's my guy now. What am I supposed to do?
Hey, man, he's a first-round draft pick.
He's my guy.
He's supposed to be a pure player.
I'd rather be wrong about that. For God's sakes, if he's the quarterback that is there for a decade or more, I'd be thrilled.
I mean, that division is just absolutely loaded.
It is. It's one of the best.
You got the youngest team in the NFL in the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a quarterback that everybody now thinks has got to, he's got to take the next step.
Yeah, we're going to see how much better the Bears are if they can't figure it out offensively with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. Then they're never going to figure it out offensively. But yeah, that's going to get Monday Night Football. Vikings and Bears. Get those two teams right off the bat playing each other. But it all, of course, starts tonight with a couple NFC East teams, and Giants fans are going to be focused in with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Then they get to see the Commanders on Sunday. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan and the free Odyssey app. CBS Sports Network joins us at 8 a.m.